at all times, whether it's current events and analysis of my own prescient prophetic perspective, or if it's certain kind of like gadgets or things that will make your life better. Now, obviously, I'm an older guy, so I'm always focusing on my 35 and up age group. But I have a millennial here, Mercedes, with me on the show. Mm-hmm. So we're sensitive to the TikTokian generation. But one of the things I wanted to find is a longevity strategy. Because I don't want to get old. I have like this beautiful portrait of Peter Pan in my house, and I think it's probably there's Jordan Peterson and my son Carl could talk to you about the psychological meaning of Neverland and never growing up and all. But there's a certain kind of young, childlike energy I want to always have, at least elasticity in my thought processes. But then I don't want to look old. And sometimes I look at myself and I want an anti-aging strategy, or at least I want to not look my age. How's that for a strategy? And Annabelle will not let me, not that I'm vain and would do this, she will not ever let me go to the plastic surgeon thing where you get your, Botox or, injections, because she hates that. But I have found that there are some age-defying strategies in the basement of my dear friend Jordan Rubin, who is the modern-day Edison of agriculture. And I want those aging strategies because I don't want to feel my age or look my age as much as possible. And I want to be able to do that if through the nutritional aspect. I know I've got to walk and work out and stuff. But Dr. Rubin, come help me. What's possible in the longevity department?
Well, first of all, people are now picturing my basement with all kinds of cages and flasks and things bubbling, Eye of Newt and the like.
That's what I picture. If you showed up in a white robe and a test kit, some kind of like foam coming, I would say, look, he's working. We're calling him out of the office.
Just call me Bunsen Honeydew. That's there you have it. And see, Lance, that just went over the head of all the millennials who've never seen the stellar comedy of the Muppet Show, right? So, we're aging
It's a tragedy.
ourselves already.
It's a loss. It's a major cultural loss. But listen,
yes.
I don't want to lose any of my my collagen deposits. Give me some advice on what I got to do.
Well, let's start with the terminology of anti-aging, which has now been largely replaced with longevity and cellular health, which I think is a big improvement in terms of communication. I think it's really important to establish that thousands of years ago, and for many families, hundreds of years ago, people lived longer and they lived better. And I always like to use these two examples in the Bible. One is Caleb. Caleb was 85 years old when he entered the promised land, or at least he spied it out. And when he came back, he was one of the two, along with Joshua, out of the 12, who gave a good report. And he said to Moses, I am stronger than I was 40 years ago. So in other words, I'm stronger than I was, actually, I think it was 45 years ago. I can go conquer these giants. I can go take these mountains, and I am able to fight as I was then. So how many 85-year-olds do we know today that are Calebs that are stronger at 85 than they were at whichever age it is, 45, which is probably correct because of the 40 years in the wilderness, which is amazing. And Moses might be even more amazing because Moses died at 120 years of age. And different translations of the Bible are slightly diverse, but they'll say that when Moses was called to the mountain by God and ready to die, it says his eyes did not grow dim and his vigor was unabated. What that means is that Moses was able to father a child at 120 years of age. And while I'm at it, Abraham, after Sarah died, I believe Sarah died at 123, 126, something like that. But Abraham went on to marry Keturah and have other sons and daughters. So Abraham, even at a time where he was called by his wife, worn out at 100, he went on to have children at 135, 136 years of age. These patriarchs and matriarchs of the faith had the same physical body and lived in a similar environment to us today. So why did they live not only long lives, because length is not as important as the quality of life for most people, but what were the secrets? And as I formulate a product, for example, we're going to talk about a formulation using God's fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices to impart longevity into individuals. I want to look at certain foods, food groups, and certain nutrients and compounds that would have been in the diet of our ancestors and bring them back today, because there really is no fountain of youth, but there might be a combination of nutrients and beneficial compounds that can help turn back the clock, if you will, and extend our lives. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But I wanted to make sure everyone understands that the idea that you have to become old, broken down, and decrepit is not a reality. Or I should say, it's not your destiny, even if it's considered normal.
I so appreciate that. We're going to talk about the products already. People are asking, all right, where do I go? I want to look into this. Go to lancewallnau.com/renew, lancewallnau.com/renew. And we're going to talk about the longevity compound or the special formulation that Dr. Rubin has put together. And I think there's 10 different or diverse collagens or something. I wasn't aware that there's that much diversity in the universe for these products. But tell me about the formulation. What are the elements that you put together in this that have some synergy that works at a cellular level?
Well, let me first talk about all the benefits. And I've got to read them because there's literally a laundry list. And I'm going to tell you how we get there in just a moment. But we're talking about promoting normal, healthy aging. So we're not saying that you are going to stop aging, but we want you to age normally and healthfully. We want you to be able to walk up steps, if not run up steps in your 70s. We want you to be able to play with your grandkids, compete in pickleball and golf, dancing, whatever it is you want to do. Supports longevity, promotes cellular energy. Cellular energy is the key to making sure your body is working properly at any age. This is a big one. It helps reduce visceral fat, the fat that is around your midsection as you age can be very unhealthy, if not inflammatory. Improves body composition, supports muscle strength. So we're talking about the appropriate amount of muscle to fat ratio. Then we go into helping skin resist certain factors of aging, joint health, hair growth, reduce joint discomfort, joint flexibility, and then helping with digestion, like occasional constipation, bloating and gas, etc. Lance, you and I would refer to that as the Rosanna Dana effect on Saturday Night Live. So all of these things start with the cell, they emanate out, but you're seeing the ancient nutrition, multi-collagen advanced longevity formula supporting the skin, supporting the gut, supporting the hair, supporting the nails, helping you reduce certain body fat, or you could even call it belly fat that surrounds your organs. And we do it not just with 10 types of collagen, but with multiple ingredients from the botanical kingdom. But we also want to look at history, for example, and say, hey, what would Moses and Caleb have eaten? Now, of course, we know they ate manna and a lot of quail, or the equivalent of some type of poultry that flew in when they were tired of eating the manna. But when they were in their normal diet, they consumed onions, they consumed leeks, even in Egypt, prior to being in the land of Canaan. They would eat dates, they would eat grapes, raisins. So all of these fruits back in old times would have certain compounds called polyphenols. Polyphenols are powerful cellular health compounds that used to be in greater supply in our fruits and vegetables, and now they're lower. I believe out of all the compounds we can consume, these polyphenols, and they come in all different names, shapes, and sizes, they may be the secret to longevity. And they are a part of the trifala, those 3 Indian berries, the black and red currant, the mango bark, as well as other ingredients that you'll find in a healthy diet. But we are giving them to you in our longevity formula.
And I mean, all of that, I mean, I love learning, getting the in-depth. It just makes you know, Dr. Rubin knows what he's talking about. But at the end of the day, Dr. Rubin, does this mean I could pick up my grandkids without my knees hurting? I have more energy to run around and do the home projects that I've been putting off. I mean, this is the type of stuff when you talk about longevity that it's like, you don't, like Lance started the program with, it's like, you don't want to see the aging. You don't really want to feel the aging. You want to look younger, feel younger, and maintain that youth factor that we talk about, that these patriarchs in the faith had, that this is something for you at home to have too. So I'm just going to say, if you want to get a hold of it, go to lancewallnau.com/renew. They got a deal going on. Buy 2, get 1 free, get 1 for you, 1 for your husband. Then you've got a couple days left, for the both of you for next month, but pick it up. Go to lancewallnau.com/renew. Dr. Rubin, the other thing is, obviously we talk a good amount about collagen, how that really is an anti-aging factor from the inside out when we're taking in this form. We might have people who have the powder at home. We give Lance the shakes all the time. Anytime he's in the studio, it's like, make me a shake.
Hey, no, they think it's a mood enhancer. I'm going to tell you something. I can tell they're looking at each other thinking, has he eaten yet? And then they come out with a shake.
Let's get him a little
and then I do. I feel better after I have my shake. And it's true.
The reason I'm saying that, though, is because we have people at home, probably just like Lance. They could take this in addition to that shake, right?
Absolutely. You are getting a crescendo effect when you add all of these powerful nutrients and compounds to your current regime, whether it has collagen powder in it or not. And I want you to really understand, we tend to consume fruits. You heard me mention mango. In this case, it's actually the leaf and the bark. You heard me mention black currant and trifala, which are these 3 berries, one of which is Indian gooseberry. I want to be very clear that while I love the taste of fruit, in fact, I'm going to have at some point today, I'm a unique eater, so I'm going to have water buffalo cottage cheese with blueberries. And it's going to taste amazing. Little honey in there, little vanilla extract. The blueberries are big and plump and sweet. But if you rewind 1,000 years ago, the blueberries were smaller, they were more tart, and they had a thicker skin. So when I look for the most important nutrients to extend life, promote longevity, I'm not looking for a ripe, delicious mango with 40 grams of sugar in it. I'm using the leaves of the mango that have all the benefits with none of the sugar. I'm not looking for raisins that are super sweet with 30 grams of sugar. And again, it's natural sugar. I get it, in a couple of ounces. I'm looking for black and red currants that are tart and crisp, again, with that thick skin. And trifala, which is 3 fruits in Sanskrit in India, those are tart, a little bit bitter. That's what makes you better. So I want everyone to understand, I do encourage you to eat fruits and vegetables, but when we formulate a product, we are using the parts of the plant that have the greatest amount of what is called phyto or plant nutrients. And unless you're eating the 3 Indian berries, which are even hard to pronounce, we're talking about amalaki,
the bibitaki and the harataki.
Bibitaki, yes, exactly.
It all sounds like Kamazaki.
Yes, exactly. And then you've got, as I said, you have mango leaf. You've got bamboo, which is a good source of silica, and the red and black currants. These are not a part of our diets. In fact, sadly, you can't go to your grocery store and find those fruits or those plant parts. Remember, supplement should be in addition to. I'm not going to give you a supplement of what you're already getting in your diet or what you can already eat. These are very unique.
That's an important point.
They are clinically studied to support longevity.
That's an important point, because where in the world would anybody get a hold of that mango leaf or these Indian, the haritaki.
I know. I didn't want Lance to read the ingredients to see mango and think, I can just have some mangoes.
I know.
I'm good.
If I see
But
mango,
they're
even
so
the leaf,
good.
I like the
want to
product.
say too, you said earlier, Dr. Rubin, about getting rid of the visceral fat, and it's like how that fat that sits around your midsection. So that's also, I think, a great benefit. I almost told the story about when Liberty was really little and met Lance. We can always cut this out, but met Lance, and Lance has his little belly that kind of expands and contracts throughout the year. And he's like, here, hit my belly. And little Liberty's like, boom. And then she goes, why is it so hard? It was so funny.
It was like the Houdini trick where, you
Really?
can punch me when I'm ready for it. But I have a question.
That's that visceral fat. This helps get rid of.
Yeah, it's because the abs underneath the fat.
Oh,
That's what she's running into, the
This is
brick
one of those
wall of
situations-
my abular development. By the way, I think the funniest word of all the health words I've ever heard is bioflavonoid. If that isn't I don't know, something about that word is cracks me up. What the heck is a bioflavonoid?
Well, when you look at certain plant compounds, they are in plants to defend themselves. Now, I know we use pesticides and herbicides and fungicides, but plants have these compounds to defend themselves. And when you consume plants, they are conveyed to you. So when we talk about polyphenols or flavonoids or bioflavonoids, they are certain plant compounds that defend plants from being eaten before they can produce their seed and therefore reproduce. Plants are no different than animals or humans. They are programmed to reproduce themselves, and plants do it with their seeds. And you'll find in plants all kinds of phytochemicals, phytonutrients like bioflavonoids, flavonols, polyphenols, anthocyanins. Then you'll hear about resveratrol. These are all these plant compounds that are beneficial. And bioflavonoids became popular when people started combining them with vitamin C. Rutin is a bioflavonoid. Hesperitin is a bioflavonoid. Those are found in citrus. If you look at God's creation, for example, let's say that amalaki, which is amla berry or Indian gooseberry, part of Triphala, if you look at the compounds, there are 60 to 100 known plant compounds in that one berry. Now, who knows 10 years from now how many more will be discovered? This is the advantage of consuming real whole foods, because you're getting what man has already discovered and what man has yet to discover. And that's why we love to formulate with grains of paradise, which is this amazing spice that helps burn visceral fat around the midsection. We love formulating with black and red currant, which helps reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles on your face, or what you would call aging symptoms of your face. That's why these 3 Indian berries called Triphala, when combined with a probiotic, have been shown to increase the lifespan of animals, in this case a fruit fly, by over 60%. And you might say, Jordan, who gives a rip about a fruit fly? Well, most of the studies on longevity, when they're trying to determine what will make a human live longer, they either use a fruit fly or a type of earthworm. For some reason, those are the most predictive to longevity in humans. So we're talking about ingredients that help you live longer.
Sometimes my staff is like, their eyes glaze over because they're hearing all these words you're using. It's like, but I want to say something. That last 1 minute, the fruit fly and the earthworm, both are connected to the longevity. I never heard that before. That's a first. But I'm gonna have to stop here, Dr. Rubin. LanceWallnau.com/renew. And the one thing I was going to say is I believe we do not yet know, because we know these are safe. We know these are proven. We know these are beneficial. But we don't have a government budget of millions of dollars to look at the combined net effect of what happens when you put these unique ingredients together. My belief is that as God has anointed you in the business that you do, you find these elements, you know they would have a natural synergy with each other. They will produce a certain outcome. But I think there's something even more happening that the people taking the product will experience, which is the interactive elements of what happens when these products are taken in convergence with each other. And that's that only the testimonies are going to make a difference there. We're going to find out as people talk to us. Go to lancewallnau.com/renew. You get buy 2 bottles, you get the 3rd bottle free. Why? Do 90 days, do your own personal clinical test on how you feel, how you look, how your skin is, your appearance. You don't have to look your age. I certainly don't act my age. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how this product is going to work for our audience. Any final thoughts there, Dr. Rubin?
I just believe that today, more than ever, health is critical. People don't want to simply add years to their life. They want to add life to their years. And our longevity formula will give you the key ingredients to help you live longer and better. Let's take back, in a biblical sense, what the locusts have eaten. We've spent years with low energy. We've gained some weight. We've lost some strength. We've lost mobility. It's time to gain it back. And you can do that by following God's dietary and lifestyle principles and utilizing support like Ancient Nutrition's Multi-Collagen Advanced Longevity. I highly recommend husbands and wives do this together. Children, you can buy these for your adult or aging parents. This is something that is important to embark on because you can literally feel better at the end of this year than when the year started. That would be awesome.
It would be awesome indeed. LanceWallnau.com/renew, RENEW. That's all the time we have today. Wish we did have more. Dr. Rubin, thank you very much. Mercedes, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be back again tomorrow. Take action now, man. Husbands and wives, do it together. Get that 3rd bottle for free. They got 30-day supply for each of you. Split the rest of it, and I think you'll be renewing your renewal on LanceWallnau.com/renew. See you again tomorrow.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have,